Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast. We are a covenantal community founded on loving kindness and a common devotion to our free faith. I'm the Reverend Ruth Van Lillian, and I'm honored to serve as the minister here. My pronouns are she, her. I want to welcome those visiting with us today and welcome to those who are joining us virtually. We are so glad you are here. As a part-time contract minister, I cannot be with you in person every Sunday, but you are all on my mind and in my heart as you gather together this morning to lift up what is worthy and sacred in our lives. How are you feeling today? Joyful? Anxious? Content? Sad? Uncertain? Excited? Confused? Eager? However you are feeling and whatever you are seeking, you are welcome here. You find yourself in the company of the curious, the questioning, the hopeful. We are a band of faith explorers, each searching for meaning, none forcing their beliefs on others, all learning from one another's discoveries. May you find refreshment and restoration in our service this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship.
And your service leader this morning. Announcements are listed in your order of service. Take a minute to look them over. It also describes upcoming services, and we have a special RE announcement.
Hello everybody, my name's Liz Wilkins. I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for the kiddos, and I just wanted to remind you to please come to the Piper Room after the service and sign them out so they can come join you for refreshments. And if you're staying for second hour, please come back and sign them in again. Thank you.
We know you have to hear these things a lot of times before it becomes a habit, so we just keep plugging with our new routines. After the service, after our brief time for refreshments and conversation, we have what we call second hour, small group discussions. Today's offerings are also in your order of service. We have porch swing, which is the circle of chairs at the front, where you have an opportunity to talk more with our speaker, ask questions, learn some more. We also have Free Thinkers Friendly in the library, led by Alex Faulkner. And belonging, we explore what it means to belong in the Harmony Room, led by Shar. Also, after this service, you have the opportunity to actually go home with a box of Narcan, which you're going to be learning all about this morning. So after the service, this little table up front, there's a place where you can sign your contact information if you'd like to get on their mailing list. And that way you will be prepared in case something happens near you that you did not expect. So we will learn more about that during the talk. And now the prelude prepares us for the service. Malia is lighting our chalice this morning. during our darkest moments, still, there is hope. Our biggest challenges, still, there is hope. When all we can do is put one foot in front of the other, still, there is hope. When we can't find the way out, still, there is hope. When all we can do to help is hold someone's hand as they cry, still, there is hope. We are the hope for ourselves and for one another. Always, there is hope. Please stand in body or in spirit to join our singing the first hymn, For All That Is Our Life. It's number 128 in the gray hymnal. Will the children come up for the time for all ages?
Hello. We can also sit right down here on the front too. We can just crisscross, just sit on our bums, just like me. Yeah. So I was looking in the library this week and I found this book about the what if pig. And it reminded me a lot of someone I know. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Hello. What if you had a friend like Pig? What if he was the nicest pig you ever met? What if he was incredibly kind, fabulously fun, and endlessly generous? What if you felt pretty lucky to have a friend like Pig? That's how Mouse felt. In fact, that's how everyone felt about Pig. Pig was so kind and so generous and so much fun that he had a brilliant idea. What if I throw a party? He has a cool party checklist, huh? Pig's party was sure to be the talk of the town. But what if Pig had a secret? Pig was a tremendous worrier, a porky panicker, a proper nervous Nelly. What if I've made a terrible mistake? What if a ferocious lion eats all the invitations? Or worse, eats all the guests? What if everyone gets stuck in a massive blizzard? What if nobody comes? Or worse, what if everybody comes? What was he thinking? Trevor had a chocolate fountain and an ice sculpture and has an absolutely awful time. What if no one really likes me at all? I know. What if I cancel the party, tell everyone I'm sick, go to bed, and never leave the house? Okay, Pig, if you're sure, what if we go for a little walk? Mouse, what if I always feel sad? Don't worry, Pig. Things don't stay gray for very long. Surprise! Maybe we're more alike than we think. What if we all talked about our worries? And I really like the horse. And it says, I worry that no one can tell I'm a horse, because he's drawn kind of silly. Mouse, what if I have the kindest, most generous, and fun friends a pig could meet? Yes, Pig, what if? All right, y'all, let's go on back and have some fun today.
That was a lot of kids. You're invited to briefly share personal events in your life by dropping a pebble into the bowl of water, either silently or while speaking a few words into the microphone. In this way, we can celebrate together in joy and support each other in have a responsive reading before the meditation. It's written by Erica Hewitt and Susan Frederick Gray. And I don't know if all the words are up there, but it's, okay, well, it's very simple. I begin, and every single time I pause, you say, "No one is outside the circle of love." Okay, so since it's not up there, let's practice that one. I'm going to say it, then you say it. No one is outside the circle of love. No one is outside the circle of love. You are ready. We know that hurt moves through the world, perpetrated by action, inaction, and indifference. Our values call us to live in the reality of the heartbreak of our world, remembering that we who are Unitarian Universalist not only affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, we also affirm the inherent wholeness of every being, despite apparent brokenness. No one is outside the circle. We know that things break or break down. Promises, friendship, sobriety, hope, communication. This breaking happens because our human hearts and our very institutions are frail and imperfect. We make mistakes. Life is messy. No one is outside the circle of love. With compassion as our guide, we seek the well-being of all people. We seek to dismantle systems of oppression that undermine our collective humanity. We believe that we're here to guide one another toward love. No one is outside the circle of love. No matter how fractured we are, or once were, we can make whole people of ourselves. We are whole at our core because of the great, unnameable, sometimes inconceivable love in which we live. And now a few moments of silent meditation or prayer. After our song of dedication, the greeters will take up the offering. Generosity is a spiritual practice. Our fellowship is supported by our pledges and donations. If you are paying your pledge with a check today, write pledge in the memo line. We also have a tradition we call Share the Plate, where we equally split all cash donations and undesignated checks with a local charity. For September, our Share the Plate partner is PFLAG. PFLAG is the nation's largest organization dedicated to supporting, educating, and advocating for LGBTQ+ people and those who love them. The local chapter meets here in our building, with the next meeting being tonight at 6 o'clock. Please be generous. have a special visitor speaking to us this morning, Dana Claw. Dana is the founder of the Emerald Coast Life Center in Okaloosa County, which is a recovery community organization, and she is celebrating over 6 years free from chemical dependency of prescription opioids. This year, she has received several recognitions from her city and area businesses in Crestview, such as the 2023 Citizen of the Year and the Seven Brews Community Heroes. Her experience over the past 30 years in many roles as business owner, minister, discipleship counselor, facilitator, therapeutic foster parent, recovery peer support specialist, someone with lived experience, student, and working in the health field, court, social, and human services, provides her the passion, empathy, and skills to support individuals and their families, getting quality and beneficial services for a better outcome, and solutions overcoming the barriers in their journey to wellness. Dana supports, educates, and advocates for individuals and their families in the community involved with mental health and/or substance abuse disorders, the justice and social systems, experiencing homelessness, and other barriers to health and wellness. Her education in criminal justice and criminal psychology, and past employment with tribal courts and law enforcement, which utilized restorative justice, evidence-based, and trauma-informed approaches, allows her to assist and partner with the Florida State DOC, Okaloosa County Jail, local law enforcement, and first responders and attorneys to better serve incarcerated individuals and their families experience a reduction in recidivism. Dana.
Good morning. It's such an honor to be here. I was telling Amanda that, gosh, probably about 10 years ago, we lived in Durango, Colorado, on the Southern Indian Reservation, and there was a Unitarian church that partnered with us in Colorado with the work that we did on the reservation. My husband is half Navajo, so if you're trying to figure out the last name Claw, it's Navajo, and he's half, and I'm half Ojibwe from Minnesota. So we very much miss being out west. Out west is, I don't know if you've ever been out west, but it's different than down here. So it's good to be back in fellowship with the Unitarian people. You guys are precious, and it's honored to be invited. So Amanda, thank you for your warm welcome and being in contact with me. She has so much grace. This last 2 months, it has been, last month was Mental Health Awareness Month, and this month is Recovery Month. So Daryl, my husband, and I, we have just been running and running and running as we've been invited to a lot of places. So she has had so much grace, and my email lapse in responding. So, but I just want to say thank you so much again for allowing me to come and share about Emerald Coast Life Center. One of the things that we are known for is the Narcan, which you guys will be able to grab a box or two if you guys need it. So I'll get into that. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that up here. I'm just also honored this week. We were honored by our Okaloosa County Commissioners this week with a proclamation to Emerald Coast Life Center to say that we have a proclamation to our organization and supporting Mental Health Month and Recovery Month. And as a new organization or a grassroots nonprofit organization, I really and was honored to receive that this week. So again, it's people like you who are generous with your pulpit to allow us to come speak, because you know mental health does not discriminate. Opioids, drug addiction, trauma, it doesn't discriminate. And we, Daryl and I, are a family who worked on a lot of healing, and that we came from our own family and the trauma that we endured as children in our own family. And later in our life, we went through a storm that people who we thought would have and should have been there for us were not. And it's because they were uneducated. So the title of importance of community in recovery, guys, we're community. And it can be somebody sitting here today in our crowd that is going through a mental health crisis such as depression, or maybe we just lost a loved one, or we could be getting ready to lose a loved one, and we need to be equipped to know how to support and love somebody during that time, through that time, and even after. The months may go by. So my heart and passion is because I felt I was forgotten by my community during Daryl and I's trauma that we were going through. And we endured homelessness. We endured not having jobs for a while due to not having health insurance, coming off of doing work on the Indian reservation for 10 years. So the work that we do now, it's endless hours. My story led me to an incarceration, and I've never been justice involved. I went from working in tribal court, working with the justice system, to now being justice involved citizen. So I understand there's gaps in our system. There's a lot of punitive things that go on in our justice system, and we need to become restorative. We need to understand what is the trauma, what was the situation that led somebody to their decision making, right? It's not the drugs, it's not their bad behavior, but let's go back to the trauma, right? The drugs are just a cover up for those emotions that they're having. So at Emerald Coast Life Center, it's an honor for us to go to the streets where we get to hand out Narcan. There are places within our community right here in Valpy and Niceville that sometimes I get called to bring Narcan, drop off Narcan. And we have to tear off that we're enabling somebody. The evidence community and educates on fentanyl, the harm of fentanyl, but how Narcan can save a life, that we can allow someone to live, right? The stigma is that we're just going to keep them using. Well, the University of Miami, the Hurricanes, they did 7 years worth of study. So when syringe exchanges opened in Miami, they would bring a dirty needle and get a clean needle and receive Narcan. They realized that people were starting to ask about recovery. They were starting to ask about, how can I get off the opioids? How can I get off the drugs that I'm on? So then they followed these men and women who went into recovery, and it's amazing to know that recovery peers do work in the lives of our community, and we as a recovery community organization are so important to our community because it's lives that we're saving, and we don't judge, we're not going to critique, we don't care who it is that we're serving. If it's a community that maybe we're not familiar with, that we have peers that can, right? Because there's different communities we all belong to. So we're kind of like you guys. We're not going to discriminate. We're not going to put down. We're going to love, and we're going to accept, and we're going to take off of the label of addicts. We're going to take off the label of, they're IV drug users. And we're going to put those labels back on soup cans. Labels belong on soup cans, so I know cream of celery, cream of chicken, right? So we are human beings that deserve life. So when we come upon somebody who's non-responsive, we can be at Tom Thumb. We can be pumping our gas and see somebody laid over their steering wheel because maybe 15 minutes ago they just either snorted a line of fentanyl or heroin, which is mainly all fentanyl now. The methamphetamine that's on our street is all laced with fentanyl, which is an opioid, which is causing the overdoses. So if you're not a normal person who's using fentanyl, but you're a meth user and you go to use that meth and it's laced with fentanyl, you're going to be 95% going to overdose because your body's not used to that, and it's very dangerous. So it's important that we as a community in recovery and bringing health and wellness to our community, that we carry Narcan, because you can be the one before 911. And all you have to do, there's a quick read on here. somebody's in the car, I'm not going to sit there and say, pull them out, put them in recovery position. I'm going to tell you to open your box of Narcan, and it's just a nasal spray. So you just squirt it up their nose, and in 2 to 3 minutes later, if they're still non-responsive, after the first squirt, you're going to call 911 and say you have a non-responsive. You give them your location, you give them your address as to where you're at. And then 2 to 3 minutes later, if emergency personnel have not arrived, then go ahead and use the other nasal spray that is in here. And hopefully by that time, ambulance and local law enforcement will be there to support the person. You also have to understand that there's a bill that's out that protects us as citizens, that we're good Samaritans doing this. So if somebody passes away, we're covered, that we tried to save their life and nothing legal is going to happen to us. If that person on the floor has a needle, if there's still dope on the ground and they're overdosed, they're not supposed to be able to take them to jail, because we are under the Good Samaritan and we called 911 to save their life. And our goal to spread in my work with the local law enforcement is to share with them that we want to get them into recovery. Is being punitive working in our justice system and filling our jails, and we as taxpayer dollars, where do our taxpayer dollars go? To our county jail to fill it up. We want to do work on the inside like Emerald Coast Life Center is doing currently, and we get to go in there and give curriculum so they can learn to recover. They can learn what behavior, what trauma has led them to doing criminal acts, leading them to chemical dependence. That we as recovery peers went to Tallahassee many times to advocate for. You guys may have heard in the past fentanyl test strips. It used to be called paraphernalia. So if we had a fentanyl test strip on our bodies, then you would get charged with paraphernalia and you'd be taken to your local jail. Well, now fentanyl test strips are legal. All of us can carry them if we know somebody who, just like I said, if they're chemically dependent on methamphetamine, they can test their methamphetamine with a fentanyl test strip, and then they're going to see on the back if it's positive, negative result. And if it's positive, right then and there, they have a choice. I'm either going to set this down and I'm not going to use it and I'm going to call for help, or they might use it, and when they come to our center, we're training them. Of course, we want to get them around the table to abstinence and not using, but not everybody may choose abstinence, but they have a choice to use less so they're not dead. Our goal with Emerald Coast Life Center is every life deserves to live. Every life has worth, every life has a purpose, and it's our duty to share hope with them, give them hope, show them how resilient they are. They might be stuck. I heard, was it in the song or a reading, about our darkest hours, right? I was in my darkest hours and nobody showed me the way out. And I was surrounded by people in community that should have been able to show me the way out and get me the support and get me the help that I needed. Being chemically dependent on pharmaceuticals when I was a child, a young adult, a mom who never hurts, habits, and hang-ups in my life going on, I had no way to speak and no words to put. But the opioids took it away. I could function, it seemed. I could get up and go do the work that I needed to at our farm with our horses at that time, take care of the house, make dinner, cook breakfast. But I was just being fooled. And then going off track and getting involved in the justice system. So being able to, as Emerald Coast Life Center, now here's some of our hopes, is that we go into the detention center, we go into the prison systems in the state of Florida, and we talk about recovery. We talk about being able to be free from opioids, so we're not having to use the Narcan. And when they get out of incarceration, we're placing them into recovery homes. Our heartbeat is that we have a certain curriculum, we have a certain scope and sequence to work with them in a 2-year program. So we're doing life with them. They're going to do a year of recovery and then a year of going into transitional living. We're helping them get jobs. We're helping them get tools that they need. If they want to do welding, getting them connected to welding people. You know, if they want to go back to get their GED, we're getting them connected to get their GED. So our big thing is, if you want to partner with Emerald Coast Life Center, we have our eyes on 2 houses, one for men, one for women. The females house, we were told about last week, and it's $415,000. And I know for me, our work, you know, we have an amazing creator, right? And he wants to provide. He wants to have a place where people are no longer on the streets and homeless and just coming in and out of incarceration, because that's affecting us and our pocketbooks, because we have to pay for all that. So we are advocating for dollars for homes that we can purchase. We also have, I love that I heard about art. At our center, when someone's going through trauma, they're going through loss, we have art teachers that come in, and we call it healing through creative arts. And we have it once a month until we get enough people and program and teachers. So next Saturday, actually, we're having a healing through creative arts at our center in Holt. So I invite you to that. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us at www.emeraldcoastlifecenter.org and find out what's happening through that. We also, Daryl was a child who grew up with some trauma, and he learned that music was his way of escape. Well, in education, when we start learning, art and music rewires our brain from trauma. So we are definitely involved in the ditches, the trenches. We go out to the streets and hand out Narcan, because I know places where they're selling fake fentanyl pills, and they're selling opioid pills and prescriptions. I get to go in and I get to leave Narcan. I get to leave test strips. And so many people tell me, Dana, you saved my life. You saved my life. And they too come around and say, you know what? I'm ready for recovery. Where can I go? So I might have to take them to Panama City until we're bigger and we have our own detox center, that we can get them in and detox them for 4 to 7 days, and then get them into one of our homes. The girls' home will be called Lighthouse, and the guys' house will be called Anchored. And those are some things that we get to off the streets and get them into recovery. We partner a lot. I'm not sure if you've heard with Path of Grace and Haven House and Miramar Beach. We partner a lot with them right now, and we're filling up their houses quick. Daryl and I drove to Birmingham, Alabama this week. A girl who I went through almost her whole 8-month sentence, she did our program inside the jail. So they're doing cognitive behavioral therapy with us through interactive journaling. So as you see, we like to use a lot of creative arts to support those in need of recovery or to work through trauma and loss. We also obtained a German Shepherd puppy this week, and she's going to be our therapy dog. So we're raising support for her. As you can see, our categories, we do arts and creative arts, music and art. And then we have our therapy dog. So we have people who can come in with a licensed counselor we have who we partner with, and they come to our center. So it may be a veteran who's working through some PTSD, and they can come to our center, and we have a therapy dog if they choose to have a therapy dog in their community of church. And it's us as a community, just like the title says, the importance of community and recovery. Guys, we're the community. We have to be educated on mental health and not afraid of it. Years ago, and we're starting to see a breakthrough where churches aren't afraid of it anymore. And I think I heard someone also say here that talking about our troubles that we're going through and being able to be supported. So I love that about this people group, that you guys are supporting one another in your journey, whatever it is that you're traveling through, that we can support each other, that we can maybe bring somebody a meal and help them through that dark hour. So Emerald Coast Life Center is really out there doing a lot within our justice system. We're out there with the homeless people. We are out there teaching churches how to use Narcan. As I said earlier, it's not really hard for the Narcan use. Just use the nasal spray, squirt it in one nostril, call 911 if they're not awake, 911's not there, use the second in the opposite nostril. if they're on the floor or in a bathroom when you go in a bathroom. I've had many people call me and say, Dana, if I didn't have that Narcan training that you provide, this person was in a Tom Thumb bathroom laying on the floor, and I had my Narcan in my purse, and I was able to administer Narcan, and that person's life was saved. They were able to get to the hospital and get the support that they needed. Last month at our Healing Through Creative Arts painting, a lady was given to me by North Okaloosa Medical Center, and they said, Dana, we've got to get her involved in your program. And I said, perfect, send her to me. So I was working with her, and then I shared with her about our art, and she said, you know what, I don't have any idea about art and painting, but I would like to come. She was 2 days off a ventilator from an overdose. A lot of our people, because of the fentanyl, that's why I'm so grateful that we advocated for these to become legal, because once they have these into their hands, they can make a conscious choice. I'm either going to use or I'm going to use less. If they're using less, I'll take it, because they're going to get around that corner pretty soon to be over here doing a whole lot less, if that makes sense. And you know, sometimes in recovery is what I'm learning. Some organizations are going to hammer and hammer and hammer abstinence. You know, somebody who has been an IV drug user for years, if I get them over here smoking, guys, I'm going to take that. That's a win. And if they're smoking for a little bit or in their timing, and then we back it up here and they're smoking weed, we want to get them on medical marijuana if that's what they're going to choose. You know, abstinence is asking a lot after all this trauma has gone on in someone's life. So I'll take all these little wins of, does it make sense? Harm reduction is what it's about. Again, and I know in this body, you guys understand harm reduction. We're not going to label people. We're not going to criticize people, but we're going to accept people. We're going to give them hope. We're going to educate them on how what they're doing is harming them. But you know, it can even be in everyday churches that we can visit and go into, and it could be just chemical dependency on their own pharmaceuticals. And EMTs tell me, Dana, when you're doing a Narcan training, would you please educate your elder crowd? Because sometimes, here's what happens, Miss Dana. And I said, yes, sir, I'm listening, and I'll take this word out with me. So this comes from a paramedic. That in the morning time, we get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we know our bones are back, we're hurting, we got arthritis. I'm feeling arthritis at 53 years of age. And, you know, so we go slower, right? And then we take our pill maybe at 5 or 6, and then right before we leave for church, we might take another one or half another one. Well, when we start misusing our medication, we can overdose. So it's important to know that everybody, because overdose does not discriminate, we need to be able to have our Narcan with us. It's going to save a life. We're not going to judge somebody because we just don't know what they got up that morning and what they had to choose from. Right? We just don't know what somebody had to choose from that morning. So I'm just grateful to be a part of the state of Florida. I used to say Northwest Florida, but we get invited down south a lot to do trainings and educate churches and other people who are clinicians. So if you want to know more about who we are as Emerald Coast Life Center, like Miss Amanda said, we're going to do a circle up here, and you guys can ask, and I invite you to stay and ask some more questions. But we would love for you to find us on Facebook, like us and follow us, and see the trainings that we have that you guys can be a part of to get more educated on helping those in recovery. Or maybe you have a heart to listen to people. Daryl and I train, we facilitate many trainings to get you started. Maybe you find in your groups here, I forgot the official name of the group tonight who's coming, PFLAG. You know, that is a community that we also embrace to educate with our RAP training, mental health first aid. So they're equipped in their community to understand that we have tools that they can hand out with their people group. So like us, follow us, and if there's any questions that I can answer, I'm just honored and grateful to be here today and know that mental health and wellness is important in our community, and I'm so honored that you guys chose to show up today to hear this message that we in community, let's go out and find a life that we can give hope to and show them how resilient they are, and that they don't have to be shameful, and that they don't have to wear guilt and shame because of what they're doing. You know, growing up in the church, Daryl and I, I carried a lot of shame for a while because I was shamed by a congregation, and I had to heal. I had to get over that. And now I get to go back in and teach congregations and communities, and that's what we are, a community, to love and embrace somebody who's going through that mental health struggle, because you just never know. Suicide prevention is another thing that we do at our center. So if you want to get involved with either the art, the music, the therapy dog, or you need assistance from us, guys, please don't hesitate to reach out. And again, it's just an honor to be here and meet you guys, and I just hope that you guys stay in touch with us at Emerald Coast Life Center.
Please stand as you're able for our final hymn, Our World is One World, number 134 in the Gray Hymnal. Let our lives be a prayer that waters dry souls, mends broken hearts, refuses to be terrorized, seeks this world's beauty, and carries us through its storms. Please stay seated for the postlude. Thank you for coming. Remember to come up front if you would like to sign up to get on their mailing list or get some Narcan to take with you, and then enjoy snacks and refreshments in the back and second hour.